Hi everyone, this is Tiny the Lady Strange. I'm just doing a video on some of my favorite oracles from, oracle decks that is, from 2024. Now most of these did not come out in 2024. These are not in any particular order. These are ones I've used the most for myself and some in client readings. And of course these weekly collector readings I do. It's not all inclusive, as I cannot find my most used one. And if you watch any of my previous videos at all, then you would know that would have been the Haunted Manor Oracle by Syrian Shadows, which is currently out of print. Maybe it will come into print in the future, hopefully for those that want it. It's a beautiful, evocative, lusty deck. It's very honest, and it gives, the guidebook is great. You can use it with or without the guidebook. So I'm mentioning that one first because it's my most used one, but she's hiding somewhere. The last two places I put that, it's not there. My decks live around the house with me. Most of them. Some are in storage, but the ones I use the most live around my house. I'm not the most organized person. Hey, I'm human. I'm in a human experience and human vessel. So, and I have other things that are higher priority. Let's just put it that way. Not the most organized Capricorn. So, with that being said, she's hiding somewhere. It's that where the spirits hit on me. Obviously, I'm a practitioner, so I'm a practicing witch. So that has a lot of paranormal experiences as it happened to me currently and in my whole life. So no surprise. I mentioned them in some of my previous videos. I have a playlist for a couple of those episodes, which I'm going to add more to. But yeah, they hide the decks on me. I'm filming in the living room, so the sound may not be the best, but my altar room's cold, as I just mentioned. Uploaded my weekly collective reading. Check that out. So yes. So I'm just going to show you the rest. Now some of these ones have very dark, evocative images that may be triggering, but they also have a sense of humor. So if you're not into that stuff, you're not into the macabre, or you're not into potentially triggering or confronting things, well, here's your sign to turn back now. Not much as a trigger warning as turn back now. After all, my name is Lady the Strange. I am a left-hand path witch. And I love horror movies and the strange and the macabre, but also other things on that. And I fairly fall between the spectrum of different things. So let's see here. I'm just going to pick one, and these are the ones I use most for myself. And these are all the ones I actually have in this pile, except for one right now, except for the one I just mentioned that I'm not going to show, but again, it's out there. It's a Haunted Manor Oracle. There's plenty of videos on it, and you can watch any of mine if you're interested. But most of these are mass market, except for the exception of one, which is an indie. I love me some indie decks. So this first one I'm going to use or bring up here is, a lot of people have this deck, the Queen Mab Oracle. Now the Queen Mab Oracle, this I believe is supposed to be related to the fairy in Romeo and Juliet, I believe. Don't quote me. Oh, well, whatever, like you say. But this deck is supposed to be like fairies. It's got mermaids and such in it, and it's all female in it. Characters or entities or beings, mostly the Fae. But to me, it's not just like a Fae deck. Not like Brian Froud's, I believe, Fairy Oracle, which I have, or the Night Fairies, which I do not have, which is out of print. I don't use the Fairy Oracle as much. Maybe this year. We'll see where my path leads me to, as it is changing and evolving. So the Queen Mab Oracle, look at this. It is, I believe, by Blue Angel. It's good sized. I got small hands, but I still like big decks. I like big decks, and I cannot lie. I don't have a problem shuffling. I'm not a riffle shuffler anyways, and I like the thicker cardstock. That's just Tanya's preference. So this deck is a lot more and speaks a lot more of Hecate, which is one of my patronesses. Hell and Venus, Dark Venus that is, and Lilith on a very lusty, evocative, but truthful, and standing in your sovereignty. So I use this a lot in their various phases, and it gets along with many of my decks, which again, I love dark aesthetic. That's just me, but I'm full of light. Gotta have one, can't have one without the other, as they say. Now, again, she's compatible with many of my decks, but she has her own voice and character, and she'll come out when she wants to or be called to. I used it a lot last month in December of 2024, quite often as pairing with my daily draws or theme working. I was working out for my personal path working, and as a woman and as a magician. So that is basically, and I use this for basically my personal sovereignty, the witch. How do I stand in my sovereignty? How do I present myself? Where do I need to present myself and show up? How can I show up for myself in daily life or in my practice as magic? Maybe what am I missing? How can I grow from this experience? And of course, to embrace my darkness and my infernal nature. So, look at these. I'm just going to show a few because, again, this is a common deck, and this video will probably be a little bit long and rambly, but that's fine. Not everybody's cup of tea, as they say. There is some nudity in this deck, I believe, but you can feel the energy in this. Feel the power, the truth, the intellect, what stands beyond the veil, what it feels like to be a witch. Whether you identify as a male or female, we both have those masculine and feminine aspects within us, no matter how we identify, as does nature does. Just as magic has its polarities. Got interesting keywords on here. You can journal with this. I path work with this, as I mentioned. I don't use it as a tarot clarifier. I use it in conjunction with tarot for my path working, but it's not a clarifier, not at least for me. The guidebook is great. I love the guidebook. One of the decks that has an amazing one. And again, Mass Market, so easily accessible. I've been getting this card a lot last month. Like 60% of the time. So, yeah, about 50-60% of the time, so quite a lot throughout that month. Reminds me of the Hermit, which makes sense, trying to find the lights or the darkness, as they say, illumination. My favorite one, let me see if I can find it quick. Of course, you never can find something when you want it, right? Come out wherever you are. Here it is. You can see why I love this one. Come on. Thou art a witch. Circe, one of the most famous witches of all time. I work a lot with the Hellenic pantheon. So, of course, but just look at that. All the images. It reminds me of Venus, too, like with a mirror. And this card speaks to me of magic and what it is like to be a witch and to harness your power, your intuition, the high priestess energies, the magician energy, the light and the dark. So I use that card sometimes as a representative in my magic too, as a reminder to myself that we're a witch. So that is the Queen Mab Oracle. And I have not used that to read for others, like I said. I actually give her because all the quality and everything behind it, I give that one a 10 out of 10. I could not live without this deck. Well, any of these I could not. That's the point. That's because I got 4, because I already talked about the one that I cannot find. She'll show up soon enough. They always do. Well, for 1 or 2, but they'll show up eventually. Decks have their own personality and energy themselves. And maybe it just doesn't work for me because I work for her so much. Who knows? This one is Purgatorium Hex. This one is very confronting and could be triggering. It's got great keywords though, but if you're not into, and it's got a great sense of humor, it does not always take itself seriously. And teaches us not to take everything so seriously too, but it is serious on the same aspect. This one is an indie. Now this one is also, the imagery has a lot of, it's all witchcraft and devils. Devils as in demons and energy. Now demons are not bad, not like they get a bad rep. Of course, by Abrahamic religions and things that do not understand or not willing to understand and maybe be a bit more objective. Things are not always what they seem. Don't we all know that? Can't judge a book by its cover, right? So yes. So if this is not your cup of tea, turn back now. This deck is by Mr. Friedborg. It is Purgatorium Hex. It's a black and white deck. It goes very well with a lot of my decks because, of course, I like dark aesthetic, not to be repetitive. And, of course, it's witchcraft and magic. And it goes really well with the deck I like to use when I do travel to Salem. Hopefully I'll be blessed to do so in 2025. 2025's got some other things so far, to my knowledge, but I'm hoping to at least take a day trip there. We'll see. We'll see what this year brings. Way too early in the game. But this goes very well with the Somnia Tarot. That's what I was going to say. I call that my Salem deck, my Hecate Analia deck. If I mispronounce that, I'm not Greek. But she is one of the aspects and epithets I work with. So, without further ado, I'm going to show some of these. Look at the backing on this. He hit the ball out of the ballpark when he did this deck. It is beautiful. And it's truthful, and it makes me confront things I don't want to confront. It makes me embrace things that are prideful. This year, 2024 meeting I did, it's still finishing, or working with the aspect of, for Black Lent, of pride, one of the 7 deadly sins, and subverting it. But I love this. It's great. The card stock, all the choices, the box is beautiful. It's like black and flames, but it's getting a little worn. So I have this basically set aside separately right now, not to destroy it. And it has an amazing guidebook. Which I did not bring in with me, but it has a quote in it. He picks very mindful, very evocative quotations from across the board, poetry, politics, has a description of the card, and has a high and low polarity meaning. So yes, and I know I'm gushing about this deck. I am using it this current month for my monthly theme. Overall for my daily draws and path working. So yes, and if you are interested in this, I do have a video back on this deck of a first look and I believe a review. So you can check those out and look back in my history. And yeah, so here we go. Again, you can't take things at face value. So repentance. And again, you got to know the story. That's why the guidebook is conjunction great with this. Loyalty. Now look at that. You got to have a sense of humor in that. This is one of my favorite cards in this, Dignity. I've been getting this one so far, in the past couple days since I started using her for part of my practice this month. Familiars. in action. Inaction is as important as action. They both play different parts and different choices and decisions. Purification. Evidence. This deck reminds me very much of kind of like the old historical Salem. That's why it goes well with the Somnia Tarot. Consequence. Keywords are amazing. This is great for journaling, jumping off points, and different parts of practice. Revolt. Some of these cards are very brutal too. Plotting. Indulgence. This one is me right now. A lot of the feelings I've had in the past week. Let's just say that. Like I said in my videos, I'm still carrying over a lot of baggage and working through from 2024. But working through it. Pariah. There's a lot in this deck too. There's a good number of cards. Oh, I got this one today, for example. So I'm not going to go through every card because, like I said, if you're interested, I have 2 videos in the past on this deck. They're my first impressions when I got it, and a review a couple months ago. I believe it may have been 31 Days of Strange. I'm not quite certain. But if you feel so inclined. So there's Purgatorium Hex. I only use that one for myself. Actually, is a good clarifier for tarot, depending on the nature and the means, of course. And she comes out to work on me when she wants to, and she's amazing thing in my toolkit. That one I definitely can't live without. And it also explains me because of the clever keywords, quotes, guidebook. So clever, but also infernal, but a sense of humor and a sense of intelligence. So yeah, so then I'm gonna do, I just read with this one, so I'll do this one. This one's coming up as Mass Market. It is Earth and Bone by Syrian Shadows. Same one that did The Haunted Manor I mentioned originally. Great guidebook, great things you can journal with and prompt. Generally, I just use it without that, but on occasion I do reference that if I want some clarification or insight. This is Everything Tanya. Tanya, obviously, if you watch any of my previous videos, I work, as I said, with the Hellenic tradition, underworld. I work with Hecate and Hades a lot. I work with Hel from the Nordic tradition, the goddess Hel, that is, and many other things, and just a divine. So this one deck is great. It pairs well with many different decks, no matter what type of aesthetic they have in my collection. I use this to read for others. It's a great clarifier for tarot, great for path working. I just used that in today's collector reading. If you want to check that out, it's already been uploaded. Mass Market, so very reasonable and accessible. I got this on Amazon. Keywords, it gives 3 too, so that's always a good thing because you have, they tie in well, but gives you different perspectives, and the imagery is just beautiful. Again, this is one of my major decks I use in client readings. And myself. Probably my second most used oracle of this year for that reason. That's the Haunted Manor. There's videos out there about this too. But I love the colors in this deck. I love the artwork. She's got a very clear voice, this too. And it's very magical. It's very great. It's great in my toolkit. As a reader and a magician and as a person. In my own human experience, this works quite well. Love this card. So, this video is already getting long enough with my rambles here, so if you watch my rambles, but you're probably used to that. And just look at that beautiful blue. Yeah, everything. And last one I'm actually going to show for most used. Also, this one I'm going to show is probably the third most used. I'm using it this month somewhat too in the rotation. This one I have the boxes stored away for a lot of these, and this thing is space. As I said, my decks live within the rest of my house and go with me. Not all of them, but some of them. So yeah, but I keep that in this beautiful pouch. I am fortunate enough to have a mother-in-law who has made me several tarot pouches. So that's one of them. I think that's the first one she made me. I think it was last year, beginning of last year, give or take, 2024. Maybe under 2023, somewhere around there. This is, out of print to my knowledge currently, Fallen Angels Oracle. I like the guidebook. There's a little write-up on it. It's like the planetary and elemental associations for these fallen angels. It has a message, a keyword, and a little bit of knowledge or insight on the actual fallen angel itself. Yes, I work a lot with that stuff. I like to diversify and change it's my gnosis and my experience changes and my path working and my knowledge and wisdom and perception changes, so it isn't my path working or to work with. But the best thing is to be true to yourself and let yourself evolve. As painful as it can be in the lessons, trust me on that. But as you move through the best way and do the best you can. But again, be open to new things, be open to new religions. That's why being on the left-hand path and moving in that direction, I realized I've been different aspects of that in my life and such. But we've fully embraced it now. Well, we're trying to. I'm human after all. I have my own fears and anxieties I work through and traumas, and conditioning. But yeah. So, this one, again, I can't live without this deck. This is another one. See, none of those are good. I never used to like oracles. Yeah. Yeah. Freudian flip. I don't like that either, but whatever. These are cemetery images. A lot of these are cemetery images and animals and things. It has the fallen angel on it and a keyword. And boy, does it clarify tarot wonderfully. It works in many other decks too, not just darker decks or confronting decks. It works with other decks too. It, for the most part, plays nice with other decks. But the keywords are amazing. It clarifies on it, and she does like to read for others. So if you don't know about fallen angels, but you like that type of, you like this type of aesthetic, you're into cemeteries like I am and haunting them as a living being, or working with spirits and necromancy and such, then yes. If you're into fallen angels and their gnosis or experience, history, or you're expansive, this is a deck for you too. As I said, unfortunately, it's out of print. I guess it comes and goes. I was lucky when it did come. I think I got this in 2023. So I was fortunate, and I'm glad I did. Would love to get a second copy as this is a backup, but yeah. I mean, look at that. That's one of my favorite images. and it's very honest, and sometimes very brutal and confronting, but it will tell you the truth. Truth that you may be unknown. That's what it tells me and other people. But it may also give you courage, compassion when it wants to, it lends support, and most of all, like I said, wisdom and gnosis. Something to look at. I don't really work with the spreads in the guidebook, but I do work with the guidebook, like I said, it's little write-ups. So these are my favorite, most used Oracle decks for various reasons of 2024. Now they may not be the run-of-the-mill, well, and most of these have been out for a bit, so they're nothing new, but compared to some other things I've watched, yeah, this is what works for me in my path and reading for others. So, to each their own. So, thank you for bearing with me and watching my rambles on this. And, of course, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel to learn. See? My channel to grow. I know that I'm reaching others. Yeah. And it would be greatly appreciated. So with that being said, stay strange and have a good day.